The Grand Plaza Hotel's ballroom glittered with luxury, every detail dripping with wealth. My parents' 30th anniversary party was exactly what you'd expect from the people behind Anderson Industries: grand, flashy, and meant to impress. I adjusted the straps of my plain black dress, feeling like a shadow among the parade of designer gowns and tuxedos. Across the room, my brother Michael's voice rang out as he bragged to investors about his latest, big win. Same old Michael, always putting on a show. Sophia. My mother's voice pulled me back to the moment. Darling, you made it. She leaned in for an air kiss that barely brushed my cheek, careful not to disturb her flawless makeup. Though you could have dressed more appropriately, she added, eyes flicking over my outfit. I held back a smirk. My dress was worth more than her whole ensemble, but she'd never guess. Letting people underestimate me had always been part of the fun. Happy anniversary, Mom, I said, offering a small, elegantly wrapped box. She weighed it in her hand, her expression already dimming with disappointment. Oh, how sweet. She was probably comparing it to Michael's gift, 2 first-class tickets for their dream cruise. My father arrived with a glass of champagne in hand. Sophia, he said, still running that little shop of yours? It wasn't a shop, it was an international tech company specializing in AI-based security systems, not that they ever took the time to understand that. The business is doing well, I said calmly. Michael strolled over, flashing a new Rolex that caught the chandelier light. Doing well usually means barely hanging on, he joked. How many employees now? 5, 6? I had over 3,000 across 12 countries, but I smiled. Just enough to keep things running. See? Michael turned to our parents, grinning. While I'm out closing billion-dollar deals, Sophia's still playing pretend CEO. Mom gave my arm a pitying pat. Honey, you know there's always a place for you at Anderson Industries. Maybe you could manage some of the smaller accounts? I'm really fine, Mom, I said, keeping my tone polite. Speaking of winning, Michael said, pulling out his phone. You seen the news? Anderson Industries just bought Thompson Tech. I led the deal. Our parents beamed. Thompson Tech was a mid-level competitor in security tech, one of mine, actually. Congratulations, I said, sipping champagne. $200 million deal, he added proudly. Probably hard to wrap your head around when your profits come in thousands. If only he knew I'd been tracking that deal for months. In fact, I'd been watching all of Anderson Industries' movements closely for the past year. Tell her about the expansion, Dad urged. Michael puffed out his chest. With Thompson's contracts under our belt, we're launching a new AI division. Time to dominate the market before these little startups even try to compete, he said, giving me a smug glance. I checked my watch. Almost time. Still wearing that old thing? Mom asked, eyeing my wrist. Michael, didn't you buy a few new Pateks last month? 4, he said proudly. Can't be making billion-dollar moves without dressing the part. Sophia, that dress, last season? Something like that, I replied, as my phone buzzed in my clutch. You know, Michael went on, if your little company's hurting, I could toss you a few contracts. Family favor. The heat in the room seemed to rise. It was time. That's thoughtful, I said, but... My phone rang. Marcus Wong, CFO. Excuse me, I said, stepping slightly aside. I need to take this. Really? Mom huffed. Now? Michael snorted. Trouble in startup land? I answered, putting the call on speaker for their benefit. MS. Anderson. Marcus's voice came through clear. I'm happy to confirm the merger is finalized. The paperwork's filed. You now own 60% of Anderson Industries. My mother's champagne glass slipped and shattered on the marble. The sharp crack silenced the room. I didn't flinch. I watched their faces instead, Michael's smirk freezing into stunned disbelief, Dad's eyes narrowing, trying to process what he'd just heard. What did you say? My father whispered. I held up one finger, still on the call. Thank you, Marcus. Is everything set for the board meeting tomorrow? Yes, ma'am. The emergency session is confirmed for 9 a.m. All members have been notified. The press release is ready to go live. Good, proceed. As I ended the call, a chorus of notifications buzzed through the ballroom. Heads turned, phones lit up. Michael fumbled for his, scanning furiously. This can't be right, he muttered, eyes darting across the headlines. We would have known if someone was buying shares. Would you? I asked calmly. Like you knew Thompson Tech was outdated before you overpaid for it? Dad grabbed Michael's phone, scrolling with a shaking hand. Silent acquisition, shell companies, private equity firms. This says the shares were accumulated over 18 months. 19, actually, I corrected. It's incredible what people miss when they're too busy underestimating you. Mom slumped into a chair, the cracks showing in her flawless facade. But your little business. Nova Technologies, I said, letting the names settle over them. Valued at $8.2 billion. Yes, it was small once. Now we lead AI security in Asia and Europe. Michael scoffed, his voice rising. That's not possible. I handle all major tech acquisitions for Anderson Industries, I finished. The same company that just paid $200 million for a dinosaur. Thompson Tech Systems are 3 generations behind ours. His face paled. You let me buy it, you knew. Of course I knew. That's what happens when you skip due diligence, brother. Too busy buying watches to notice Thompson's biggest clients had already switched to Nova, quietly, through subsidiaries. Dad stepped forward, the businessman in him trying to reassert control. Sophia, let's talk this through. We're still family. I laughed softly. Family? Was it family when you called my work a hobby? When you said women in tech were just PR props? All around us, the room had shifted. Guests were openly staring now. Whispers, camera phones raised. You can't just take over Anderson Industries, Michael snapped. The board won't allow it. I opened my tablet and turned the screen to him. A string of emails, board members pledging support. You mean these board members? Turns out, when you show them how integrating Nova's AI could triple stock value, they listen, especially after years of watching this company stagnate under ego-driven leadership. Mom found her voice again, barely a whisper. All those little contracts you took, they were just ways to study us? I nodded. Every brag, every boardroom speech, every careless detail you let slip, I was listening. You told me everything without even realizing. Suddenly, the ballroom screens, meant to display a sentimental anniversary tribute, cut to breaking news. My face appeared beside the Anderson Industries logo. Tech giant Nova Technologies acquires Anderson Industries in $6.8 billion surprise deal. Sophia Anderson named CEO. Michael stumbled back, fingers tugging at his tie. $6.8 billion. But where did you even get that kind of money? I tilted my head. Remember when you laughed at my little crypto investment 5 years ago? The realization hit him like a punch. The one you called just another tech bubble? I gave a small smile. I turned that into Nova's seed money. I shrugged. The rest came from understanding where AI security was headed, while you were still chasing legacy systems. A group approached us, parting the crowd like a tide. Leading them was James Morrison, the longest-standing board member. MS. Anderson. He nodded respectfully to me, not even glancing at Michael. The board is looking forward to tomorrow's session. Your proposal for integrating Nova's AI suite, brilliant work. Thank you, James, I smiled. And please, call me Sophia. Dad stepped forward, face composed, voice tight with calculation. Sophia, let's not do this. We can work something out, keep things in the family. Oh, but Dad, I said smoothly. That's exactly what I'm doing, just not in the way you envisioned. My phone buzzed, again, more alerts. The markets had already reacted. Anderson Industries stock was surging. You should be thanking me, your shares just rose 40%, though of course, you're now minority shareholders. Mom had straightened her posture, though her hands still trembled slightly. But, what about Michael? His position is safe, I said, though perhaps not as COO. I turned to him. I'm thinking something more fitting, regional sales manager, maybe? His face turned a deep shade of red. You can't demote me, I built half those partnerships. The same ones that have been eroding for 2 years. I tapped my tablet, pulling up charts. Declining engagement, shrinking contracts, 3/4 of consistent losses, the board's not impressed. Morrison cleared his throat, stepping in again. We should prepare for tomorrow's press call. Journalists are already asking for statements. I nodded. We'll assure them everything is under control. The transition will be seamless. I glanced back at my family. And yes, Anderson Industries will remain a family business, just, in more capable hands. The irony hit like a punch. No one laughed. Dad tried to speak again, voice softer now. Sophia, all those times we pushed you aside, taught me everything I needed to know. I finished. You showed me the power of being underestimated. Arrogance leaves blind spots. Around us, guests had gathered again, hushed but attentive, their eyes bouncing between me and the stunned remnants of the Anderson legacy. I turned to the crowd. Please, continue celebrating my parents' anniversary, though now, we also toast to new beginnings. I raised my glass. To family, and to business. As the music resumed and chatter cautiously returned, I gathered my things. I have calls to make before tomorrow's board meeting. I gave Michael one last look. You'll get your briefing in the morning, be on time. Then, to my parents. Mom, Dad, I paused, letting it land. Thank you, for the lovely party, and for teaching me that success is the best revenge. I walked toward the exit. Morrison fell into step beside me. Brilliantly executed, Sophia, he said. But one thing, why let them announce the Thompson Tech deal tonight? I smiled, pushing open the ballroom doors. Because, James, sometimes you let people have their moment of glory, right before you show them what real success looks like. Cool night air met me as I stepped outside. Behind me, the building hummed with whispers, glasses clinking, and the distant sound of a dynasty quietly collapsing. My car, a sleek midnight blue Tesla, glided to a stop. As the driver opened the door, I caught a final glimpse of the ballroom window. Michael stood there, watching. His face, conflicted, angry, and finally, quietly respectful. In my earpiece, my assistant's voice came through. Sophia, Tokyo's ready on the line. Should I let them know you're en route? Yes, I replied, settling into the back seat. And Sarah, schedule a family dinner next week. It's time we had a proper business conversation. As the car pulled away, I glanced out the window, just long enough to see the building fade behind me. They'd never see me the same way again. And they never should have underestimated the quiet one in the room.